Well, I think it starts with getting their perspectives of certain, whatever the topic might be. Just seeing it from their perspective gives us a better idea of how a PTA can help, or just the physical therapy field in general. If there was an occupational therapist who had an idea to create, some sort of maybe a splint, for example, um, and then if we can collaborate with them and understand how to better use that in the clinic when they're with us, then we just understand one piece of equipment together, where otherwise I wouldn't know, how they made this splint or anything like that. So that's just, a random example, but just collaborating and understanding what they do versus what we do at a more deep level would be helpful for anybody, really.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the PTA Plus podcast. I'm Katie Sutton, your host, and I'm so excited for you to meet today's guest, Russ Burns, physical therapist assistant. Russ is an early professional PTA working in a hospital-based outpatient setting. He also serves in the U.S. Army Reserves as a platoon sergeant in a military police company. Thank you so much for your service, Russ. Currently, Russ serves as the early professional special interest group leader for the Southwest District of the Ohio Physical Therapy Association, where he supports and connects early professionals. Russ is a PTA Plus. He is a husband, dad of 3, constant student, advocate, mentor, mentee, friend, and leader. I'm excited to have Russ join PTA Plus at APTA's Future of Rehab Therapy Summit this coming July in DC at APTA headquarters. I know that Russ's energy will be contagious for you as we discuss the reasons why we are so excited to attend this important summit and to bring this information to physical therapist assistants. So, as always, thank you for listening and enjoy the show. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the PTA Plus podcast. I'm Katie Sutton, your host. I am so excited because today we have a very special guest with us. We have Russ Burns, and you are a friend, a colleague, somebody who I know from Ohio, but you are also going to be my wingman for the Future of Rehab Therapy Summit at APTA headquarters in DC this coming July. So thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me. I'm truly excited to be here.
Yeah. So we're going to talk today about some of the things that you and I find to be exciting about this Rehab Therapy Summit, and some of the reasons why I invited you to come with me and be that wingman. And this doesn't mean that Russ is going to run around with podcast equipment, but you are going to be involved in all of the sessions. You're going to be able to talk to all of the innovative minds that are there. You're going to be right there, front lines. You're going to be digging into that information and soaking up all of that new tech innovation and ideas. So you're going to be reporting out a good bit of information to PTA Plus, and we're going to try to push all of that information out either live or immediately from on site there in DC. So I'm really excited about that. There's a few reasons why I specifically asked you. I'm really glad that you said yes. Thank you, by the way. But first, you're motivated, and that's something that I've recognized about you from the get-go. You're motivated. You're excited to try new things. You are open to it when people say, "Hey, have you thought about doing this?" You don't say no right away, and I find that to be a great quality for people to have. So that was one of the reasons why I asked you. Second, you're not afraid to talk to people or ask questions. Again, something else that I appreciate about PTAs in particular, because I'm always saying on this show, you got to be willing to ask the question. And so you're somebody who comes into rooms and you are not afraid to ask questions. Third, you're a fresh new PTA. You're like right out, right? So it's been like a year?
Yeah, brand new, hardly a year.
Hardly a year, yeah.
Yep.
I bet you've learned a lot in that first year though, right?
Oh my goodness, so much. Yeah. All the instructors tell you you're going to learn more in your first year than you did through school. And there's so many things that you can learn in the clinic. It's been an awesome year.
Yeah, that first year, it's so transformational. It's crazy. And I think as a student, sometimes people get a little frustrated because they're like, what do you mean I have to keep learning? I'm done. I don't want to hear anymore. But that first year, I think things just kind of start to settle into place and you feel more like your own clinician. Like you're not mimicking that of your clinical instructors or that of your instructors on campus. And you kind of begin to be your own person in the clinic.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you go from studying textbooks to reading, the most recent clinical practice guideline, and then developing your own workflow and figuring things out on your own with some guidance from the mentors. So it's a huge year for growth, truly.
Yeah. And that's another reason why I asked you, because you're so fresh. And I think that you're going to bring a new perspective to going to the summit versus what my perspective is going to be. I've been in the field for 20 plus years. You are just getting started. So you and I are going to have two very different views and takes on this. And I think that that's going to be a great addition for our audience to hear that. And then the other reason, the last reason, is you were the first person to give me a review on Apple iTunes, I think. So I'm like, I appreciate those kind words. You kept me motivated at a time when I was like, I don't know if I should be doing this. I don't know if I'm the person to be doing podcasting. I had no idea what I was doing. And to get your review was something that definitely continued to push me forward. So I appreciate that. And thank you for doing that.
Oh, of course. I mean, I was just student Russ looking for any bit of info I could find out there, and then along comes a podcast specifically for us. So yeah, I was all in from the start.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I do appreciate your support. So some of the goals for PTA Plus to go to the Future of Rehab Therapy Summit, and it's important for us to kind of talk about that title. And I have just recently had an episode released with Drew Contreras from APTA. That title is specific. It's not just for physical therapists and physical therapist assistants. There are going to be other healthcare professionals there. We are talking about rehab therapy here. So we tend to get in our silos. And I'm excited to go to this summit because we're going to be able to talk to people outside of our profession. Sometimes we need to look to other people to see what we can fix or what we can change instead of just, renewing and rewashing the exact same thing over and over and over again. So I wanted to make sure that we were there to cover some of these topics and talk about that. The rehab world is shifting, right? So this is important for us to start to lean into it rather than like run from it and fear it. So we might as well just kind of start putting our foot on the gas and just lean into it and try to figure this out, right?
Oh, I agree. Yeah.
Future's not going to stop. So we might as well just jump on and see what's going to happen. And I'm hoping that you and we can kind of like dig in and discover what's happening in rehab therapy, like what's going on with some of these new tools. AI is a huge topic, and that is going to be one of the topics there. So I have started using AI in little bits, and I'm really enjoying it, but I didn't do it willingly at first. Do you use AI much?
Oh my goodness. No, and if I do, it's usually like some editing on like social media or something to make a silly picture.
Yeah.
But yeah, to use it productively, no. I haven't.
Yeah. You know what? I think that that's a really good point, though. And I think that that's a great place to start with AI, though, is to do some of those very basic things with it. But now that I am getting used to it and I can see what it can do for me and the ways that it can improve some of my workflow, whether it's with podcasting things, whether it's with communication, whatnot, and in some ways in work, some of the processes that I do at work as a PTA educator, I'm not obviously using it in an incorrect way, but it does help me with certain workflows that, don't require me to put any confidential information in AI. So we might as well embrace it and use it, right?
It's here.
It's here. Another thing that, another reason why I wanted to be there was because I think that PTAs need to position ourselves as contributors and not followers, not just followers, I guess I should say. I don't like that word just, but I think that we tend to see ourselves as followers, and we are in some ways. Followership is something that I've really been diving into a lot lately. I have some episodes hopefully coming out in the future that's just about followership. I think PTAs are a great example of what followership should look like because that's built into what we do is to follow the plan of care, right? But we have to be good contributors to that plan of care. We still have to be able to bring good ideas to the table and not just be passive. So I think that this is going to be a really great way for us to kind of really look at that PTA role in the future of rehab therapy and see what that looks like. All right. So we're going to talk about you a little bit
Okay.
instead of just the summit and just my ideas on the summit, because I talk a lot. I could just keep talking. I guess this is why I have a podcast, right?
Well, you're good at it.
So starting strong, like we said, you're only out for about a year now. So you're still within that. You're just over a year. We're gonna give you a full year.
Yeah, so
Right.
I graduated in May, so it is a little bit over a year, and officially I was licensed in July.
Okay, so we're like super close to like that full year of licensure. So
Yeah,
we're
so
gonna go with
close.
the year. Yeah. So since you're so fresh, what's one of the biggest surprises that you found in this first year after graduating?
Oh my goodness. Well, I will say the amount of trust that is placed on you between the PTs in the clinic and the patients. You talk about followership and leadership. You are a leader of that PT's plan of care when the patient's in front of you. And when that person sees you, they don't see new grad Russ. They see their care team ready to take care of them. So the amount of trust and the confidence that leadership in the clinic places in you from the get go was pretty awesome to me, and I felt supported and kind of like you mentioned earlier, my own clinician. I felt empowered really. I was a little nervous, and really once you get in there, everyone trusts you. They know you that you have the training, and they're there to support if you have questions. So it's really been a delightful first year. It's been pretty fun, honestly. That was
Yeah.
surprising. I was nervous heading in, and it was after day one, it's been fun.
Yeah, you were so right. Patients are so very trusting. As a matter of fact, and I always tell my students this, I'm like, this is why you have to be very cautious about how you introduce yourself because um, sometimes our patients don't really fully comprehend the difference between physical therapist assistant, and students, which is oftentimes why we get asked as PTAs, when are you going to finish your degree or when are you going to be a real PT, right? Because patients don't always really fully comprehend and understand that difference. So it's important for us to recognize that they give us a lot of trust. And it's an honor for us to be able to treat those patients. One of my good friends always says that. It's an honor that we get to be a part of our patients' progress and their healing. So we always have to keep that in mind. You're right. That trust is pretty amazing. I always felt um, very humbled that PTs were trusting me as well. Like they would come and ask my opinion, well, what do you think about this? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm brand new. What do you
Yeah,
think?
right. Well, what you tell me first, and I'll tell you.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think? And then I'll tell you what I think. Right.
Yeah,
But
that's funny.
those were some of my favorite parts about working in the clinic, which I have not been in the clinic in quite some time now, but was just that conversation that we could have and the ideas that we could generate and the brainstorming. That's something that I always enjoyed about working with my PT and PTA colleagues. So I miss that, something I miss. So, have you had a moment so far in this first little bit of your career where you had one of these like, aha, yes, this is exactly why I became a PTA moments?
Well, I've thought about this before, and it happens every day, really. Whether it's a patient and you give them a very simple instruction on something, and it's so minute, and it's not some fancy exercise. And they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I couldn't figure that out. And they just leave. Anytime someone leaves feeling better than when they came in, I feel like this is it. This is why I'm here. Or maybe it's a return to sport athlete, and they come back after a meet and they're just like, everything felt great. This was perfect. I did what you said. You're just like, wow, this person listened to me and it worked. And you're just proud of yourself and happy for them. So it's, kind of self-rewarding, but then you're very happy that this person is taken care of. Every day that happens, I'm reminded why I'm here.
Yeah. And I think that that's what continues to bring us back, right? You're going to have those rough days in the clinic. It happens to everybody. It's a job, in some aspects, but it's one that if you continue to see that, then it's rewarding and it makes you want to continue to come back. But definitely on those bad days when you hear somebody say, "You won't believe what I was able to do," and then you're like, "Yeah, it's worth it. It's worth
Right.
it for me to keep digging in and come back and learn more and figure out things." So yeah, I agree. It's one of the best parts. Russ, why did you say yes to coming to this rehab therapy summit on my request?
Oh my goodness. Well, I was very surprised. It was unexpected, and I'm grateful. I've been in the military for a while, and I learned early on through the military to volunteer for everything you can and say yes to everything you can. That's how you build experience and meet people. So I've pretty much followed that rule for everything in life, and I've gotten a lot of really cool experiences from that, from attending a leadership summit last year for the OPTA, and I was way over my head there. People were talking about things I didn't even know what the words were, but I was there experiencing it, and now I'm speaking to you on this podcast when I just remember last year leaving a review. So I think there's opportunity everywhere, and if you say no, you're selling yourself short and other people. So yeah, that's why I'm here.
Awesome. Yeah. So we're going to be live in July at APTA headquarters in DC, and you're going to be soaking up all of that information. I am sure there's going to be big words that I don't know what they are as well, because there's so many different individuals that are going to be there, a lot that are outside of our profession too. So, but that's okay. We got each other. We will be able to help each other out and figure this stuff out. We're going to get to talk to all kinds of amazing people in rehab therapy, and lots of innovators, lots of cool ideas. So I'm excited to have you come along and help me report out on all of these topics, because I certainly cannot do it alone. So we need your opinion on all of this as well. So how does it make you feel to be around all of these big ideas and seasoned professionals, or to know that you're going to be around it? Are you like intimidated? Are you inspired?
I would say maybe a year or two ago I would have been intimidated, but attending OPTA events and being around other professionals, I've learned that our profession is very welcoming and open, and everyone is here because they want to make things better. So if I have a question, that's kind of why we're there, is to get answers. So I think people are going to be happy to answer them, and I shouldn't feel any less because I'm there to learn. So I'm really just excited. If I thought too much into it or thought about who I'm talking to, maybe I'll be nervous. But if I just go and enjoy the moment, I think it's going to be great. So I'm really excited, looking forward to it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the things that some of the very first things that I did when I became an APTA and an Ohio OPTA. You and I keep referring it to OPTA, thinking that maybe everybody knows what it is, but it would be Ohio Physical Therapy Association. But one of the first things that I did was I made myself a list of the PTA leaders in both Ohio and at the national level. And then I made it a point to find those people when I went to certain events and introduce myself and to ask questions. I didn't know what all of this stuff was, but I knew that I was going to be able to figure it out if I just asked the right questions to the right people. So I always kind of joke that I started to show up and I didn't go away, and they finally just started giving me jobs to do. They're like, well, Katie's here again. You might as well give her something to do. Put her on a committee, just give her something to keep her busy, and maybe she'll quit asking us questions. So about attending the summit, what would you say is one of the things that you're most excited about to attend the summit?
I actually had a chance to think about this question because for the listeners, you and I had a brief conversation a few days ago about planning this, and we were just kind of sharing ideas about the summit, and I had mentioned that there's someone speaking who had created an idea, and then they presented it to Shark Tank, and I thought that was really awesome, and I still do. But then you had mentioned, and I think you introed the show with the, we're going to be with so many other professions, and really the collaboration. Of course, we're there to see all of the different speakers and keynotes and ideas, but doing that with people that we don't get to see every day from different sides of the clinical field is really exciting. So actually, you gave me that idea, and that's really exciting to think about. So I'm looking forward to talking with other get some other perspectives.
Yeah, and I think that we like you said, we've mentioned that a couple of times now, that this is not just a single discipline that's going to be there. This is multidisciplinary. How do you think that working with these other disciplines are going to help us position PTAs better to advocate for ourselves and advocate for our position within that team role? Like, how do you see that improving our role?
Well, I think it starts with getting their perspectives of certain, whatever the topic might be. Just seeing it from their perspective gives us a better idea of how a PTA can help, or just the physical therapy field in general. If there was an occupational therapist who had an idea to create, some sort of, maybe a splint, for example, and then if we can collaborate with them and understand how to better use that in the clinic when they're with us, then we just understand one piece of equipment together, where otherwise I wouldn't know how they made this splint or anything like that. So that's just a random example, but just collaborating and understanding what they do versus what we do at a more deep level would be helpful for anybody, really.
Yeah. So do you view innovation as only gadgets and technology, or do you view innovation as something different? How would you?
Well, yeah, when I hear the word innovation, I think of like someone creating a product and it's out there. But then if you take the word product and think about it, that could be maybe it's a new way to conduct your workflow, or maybe it's a streamlined way to do your documentation. It doesn't have to specifically be a really cool new project for a patient, or that's gonna. Of course, we want everything to help patient care, but maybe that means streamlining our processes for our workflow by integrating AI into something. So it doesn't have to necessarily be this thing that we can touch and hold or give somebody. It can just be how we operate daily.
Yeah, I mean, if we can improve our workflow, that's only going to help patient outcomes, right? You would
Right.
think. Yeah. Yeah. So I like your point with that, because it doesn't just have to be something that's a gadget or a device or something like that. And I agree. I tend to think that way as well. Like, oh, somebody invented something. They must be so innovative, as a product or something you can physically hold. But really, if you think about innovation, just ideas, sparking ideas. And that's one of the reasons why I love attending conferences in person. I mean, I am not against anything online. Of course, I finished two of my degrees mostly online. I believe that there's a lot we can do. You and I are not anywhere near each other. We're working online right now, talking to each other. But when I go to an in person conference, I come away with so much energy from being around people, so many ideas, talking to people in PTA education who are doing new and innovative things in the classroom that isn't necessarily with technology, but just generating ideas. And then I come back and I'm so fired up because I'm like, yes, there's this new, idea that I can bring in, this new concept into the classroom and try it right away with my students. And I don't know, I just feel like a new person when I come back from these conferences. So to me, that's important. And obviously, exciting to know that we're going to be at the summit where we can hopefully bring something back to the clinic or the classroom immediately.
Yeah, I think it's a really good point. Just being around like-minded people. I know when I was a student, I went up to a spring conference at the Ohio Physical Therapy Association, and of course the classes were great. But just coming and hanging out with a group of people who were doing the same thing as you and going through the same things, yeah, it really does add a whole new level of excitement to what you're doing. It's a lot better than sitting in your office or dorm and reading a book. So yeah, I really can't wait to see I guess the vibe when we get up there.
Yeah, the vibe. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I would like to get your take on something, because one of the topics that they're going to be talking about at this summit is non-linear career paths. So, there's a whole panel that's going to be talking about this. And when you think about like non-clinical or non-linear roles, have you ever been in a position I mean, I know you've only been working as a PTA for a year, but have you ever met somebody who's in a non-linear type of a role where maybe they're not in the clinic all the time and they're doing different things? And how has that changed your thought process about growth in the profession?
Well, yeah, my experience is limited there, but just for example, I had an educator when I was in school who also happened to be my clinical instructor. So she was teaching a class, and then 2 weeks later, she was kind of grilling me after just doing patient care to make sure that we covered all our bases. So just that one example, she was an educator while still working in the clinic. But I've learned that PTAs can get into management and things like that. Um, and I guess in some aspect, maybe health and wellness companies. And then, of course, I've read, there's different scenarios where a PT and a PTA get together and they're working on building their own clinic and things like that. So, yeah, my experience is limited in actually seeing that play out, but I know it's out there.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that that's going to be a really interesting topic, because those of us who have been around for a while, and again, this is why I wanted somebody with a fresh perspective to come in and hear all of this, because, somebody who's been around the field for a while, sometimes there's a little bit of a negative view on when people select non-clinical type careers, or if it's non-linear, and I think that it gets a bad rap sometimes. And non-linear careers can be a great benefit to the profession. If I choose to go work in a different environment where I'm a physical therapist assistant, but I'm not working in the clinic, but I'm still bringing something to the table, that benefits not only the PTA, but the physical therapy profession. So, oftentimes, I mean, I'm not in the clinic now, I work in PTA education, but I know that there's a lot of people who work in different environments, PTAs who are running departments, PTAs who are doing different EMR work. They're working in billing and management and all of this. So there's a lot of different ways, remote therapeutic monitoring, lots of different ways that, PTAs can take their skill and use it somewhere else. Health and wellness, like you said, lots of PTAs are doing side gigs as well. And again, that's one of the reasons why this podcast was started, was because we wanted to highlight all of these things that make us who we are beyond only clinic work. There's nothing wrong with only clinic work, but you are more than a PTA who works in the clinic. You have lots of other things that you do. You gave me a whole list of things that make you a PTA Plus, right?
Yeah, we need options.
We need options, definitely. Okay, so for the next half of our conversation, I don't even know if it's going to take us half of the conversation, but we'll see how long it takes us. I thought we would do something different, something a little bit fun. We're going to kind of take this episode in a different route than what the normal PTA Plus route is, and we're going to do some speed round questions.
Boy.
I know, right? Like nothing like putting you on the hot seat and you can't change your answers. Like once you've said it, it's out. So
It's out.
once you've said it, it's out. So what we're looking here with this is I want quick answers. I don't want you to think too hard about it. I want you to just, whatever comes out of Russ's mind comes out of Russ's mind. Okay.
All right. Get ready to edit these.
What's that?
Oh, you're going to have to edit these.
No.
Oh,
They're going to be great. We're not going to edit anything. It's going to be great. Okay. So speed round questions, not going to think about it. Quick answers. Are you ready to rock and roll?
I'm ready.
Okay. So here's the question. The first question: innovations that you would steal and bring to your clinic today.
Anything that streamlines a soap net.
Perfect. AI in the clinic. Is this exciting, terrifying, or both?
Both. I think we just need to realize that patients are becoming more educated themselves, so we need to make sure that we're staying up to date.
I agree. One thing that you wish every PTA knew about leadership.
Leadership is not only a title, in my opinion, it's an action word. So you just need to do when you know something needs to be done. And then when you're put in the position to lead, make sure that you're doing it for the people that you are leading and whoever is benefiting from your leadership.
All right. Documentation. Fix it, fund it, or fire it. I don't think we can fire it, but go ahead.
Well, I'd rather, it needs, I think it's really important, but I know it's burdensome. So I would say fix it.
Yeah, fix it. Perfect. What is one buzzword in rehab therapy or in physical therapy right now that you love?
Oh my goodness.
One buzzword.
Oh, that's a tough one.
What's
Next.
one that you don't like?
Oh my gosh.
I know mine. Mine's burnout.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah,
I like it.
That's a buzzword that I'm over it. And I have very specific reasons why I'm over it, but this is not a time for me to give my opinion. It's your opinion. It's your speed round.
No.
So I'm going to bypass answering that one. So, all right. Okay. If you could attend a secret roundtable at this Future of Rehab Therapy Summit with anybody, who would you pick?
Oh my gosh. With names or just like titles? I would
Either
probably pick someone who can innovate tech. So because I couldn't do that. Probably some sort of PTA educator. So you'll be there. We're good. And then probably a patient and then someone who can monitor if we are even compliant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that would be good.
Look at you. Look at you being innovative.
Yeah.
Okay, 10 years from now, what's something that you think that we're going to laugh about doing the old way?
Oh my goodness. Maybe faxing.
What's that?
Like a fax.
Do people still do that? Are faxes still a thing?
I think we receive faxes at our office. Yeah.
Wow. That's. I think you're right. I think there are still faxes. Yeah. I don't know if it still comes through the old, like the way, like it sounds horrible when
I think it just comes out the printer.
I think you're right. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess it still is a thing. So, okay. Which future physical therapy or rehab thing do you secretly hope does not catch on?
Oh, something like like AI generated physical therapy, where the patient is kind of like remote therapeutic monitoring, but there's no person involved.
True. Okay. I could see that one. Yeah. We are still humans and we still need
Right.
that human touch, especially in physical therapy and rehab therapy. I'm not going to exclude our OT and speech friends in this one here. So, okay. What are 3 words that you hope describe the future of our field? 3. You're limited.
Bold, collaborative, and personalized.
Bold, collaborative, and personalized. I love it. Oh, this one's a hot topic, hot button issue here. Do you think the word or the title physical therapist assistant will ever be changed?
No, I don't think it will be.
No? Think it's
No,
going
and
to stick?
I think it's a pretty good name. But we
Yeah.
are.
Yeah. We assist our colleagues, our physical
Right.
therapist assistant
Mhm.
or our physical therapist colleagues, right?
I
That's
think
what we do.
it's a good name. I like it.
All right. Okay. Russ is keeping PTA.
Now,
All right. Russ, last question that is speed round question. How should new grads be preparing right now?
I think you need to take your studies as they are, but you need to be curious, and then really put yourself out there. Whatever it is, just be involved.
Put yourself out there.
However that is, be
hmm
involved.
Ask the questions, hit the start button, show up in places where PTAs were not supposed to show up to.
Right.
Yeah.
Until they can't get rid of you. And
Until they'll give us something to do, right?
Right, exactly.
Yep. Awesome. Okay. So as a new, fresh PTA, what is your call to action to all of the physical therapist assistants who are listening to today's episode?
Oh goodness. I think you said this earlier. I'm gonna say that it's not the future of rehab isn't something that's happening to us. It's something that we have the opportunity right now to be a part of, and we're in. So whether you're a student, new grad, or 20-year clinician, put yourself out there and bring your ideas to the table. Show up, speak up.
Awesome. I love it. I couldn't have said it better myself. Russ, thank you so much for your time. I am looking forward to seeing you in person in DC, live at APTA's Future of Rehab Therapy Summit coming up here in like about a month. Yeah. So you and we're going to be hanging out and recording stuff. You're going to be on social media and all kinds of stuff. People are going to see your face all over PTA Plus.
Oh my goodness. Get ready. I'm excited.
I'm excited too. Well, thanks again, Russ. I appreciate your time.
Thanks so much for having me, and to everybody listening, thanks so much for listening. I'm grateful for you all.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thanks.
You've just wrapped up another episode of the PTA Plus podcast, where the conversation is by PTAs, for PTAs, and always leveling up. Just a quick heads up. This show is for entertainment and inspirational purposes only. It is not medical advice. Be sure to check with your healthcare provider about your own healthcare needs. All opinions are that of the host, guest, and do not necessarily reflect any employer, institution, or professional association. PTA Plus is hosted and produced by Katie Sutton, physical therapist assistant, and is proudly part of the PT Pintcast Media Network. If this episode hit home or made you think, please share it with your PTA crew and drop a review on Apple, Spotify, iHeart, Amazon, or YouTube. It really helps us grow. Thanks for listening, and until next time, stay curious, stay bold, and keep rising.